Good morning and welcome to our Wednesday devotional. Several years ago, Natalie was maybe 10 or so. Sherry and I took Natalie and a lot of her friends to see the movie Madagascar 3. We heard it was a great movie. We all settled in. We actually got there early, which never happened to us. We got there early in time to have a big old tub of popcorn and drinks and to watch the previews of upcoming movies. Well, if you watch the previews, then about every other preview, they'll have a little commercial that says, silence your cell phones. You'll hear it 3 or 4 times. In creative ways, they'll say, remind you, be quiet, shh, silence your cell phones. That's fine. I want to suggest at the theater, add the words, and your noisy kids. Silence your cell phones and your noisy kids. Seated in front of us, directly in front of us, was a lady and her 2 boys. I'm going to guess that the older boy was 5. The younger kid was 2. How do I know he was 2? Because of that phrase we've all come to love, the terrible twos. The boy was the embodiment of everything evil about that phrase, the terrible twos. So during the entire movie, he would kick, squirm, or cry. When he wasn't kicking, squirming, or crying, he'd turn around to Natalie and go, hi. And she'd say hi, and then that would encourage him to do it more. So for the entire movie, that's pretty much all he did. I watched him for 2 hours instead of the movie Madagascar 3. The mom left the movie with her 2 kids with 10 minutes to go in the movie. The cynical side of me said, why now? Why not stay and ruin the entire movie? Yeah, go ahead and ruin the last 10 minutes as well. So during that 2-hour debacle, I vacillated between, being Christian and being angry and cynical. The cynical side won a good bit of the argument. I kept saying, she's being so rude. She's ruining the movie for the rest of us. The Christian side would be more loving and kind and understanding. Because I remember when our kids were 2, we took them out, say, to a restaurant, and we had ordered food. They brought the food. We'd eating our food. Then one of them started acting like a deacon's kid. What are we going to do? We've already got the food. We're going to stay and ruin everybody else's meal? Or get it to go? It's a tough dilemma, and I felt sorry for her a little bit. I've been in her shoes, and they are not a comfortable fit, so I know what that's like. I do think it's rude to ruin a movie for everybody else. Yeah. It reminds me of that wonderful Andy Griffith episodes, when the guy Ernest T. Bass would show up in Mayberry. He was a hillbilly, not very smart. In one episode, it shows him in school. He's going back to school to get an education. He happens to be in Miss Crump's class, and he gets his report card from Miss Crump, and she wrote on it, he was rude. Well, he was proud of that. He didn't know what that meant. And so he tells the girl next to him, I got me a rude. Then he says, I bet you ain't never got no rude. Well, we don't need to be getting rudes. Christian people don't need to be getting rudes on our report cards, right? The Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 13, love is not rude. I wanted to hand the lady with the 2 kids a report card, a movie report card, and say, you got a rude. But I understand, She bought 3 tickets. She hoped that her 2-year-old would behave. He didn't. But she said, I'm going to stick it out because I paid my money. So I understand her dilemma. When kids misbehave during the sermon, you can threaten the fires of hell and you can buy yourself some time. But I guess she didn't have that bargaining chip. So the more I've thought about that story, the more I tend to go to the Christian compassion side of it and not the cynical, angry side. Because we all got 2 natures, don't we? Residing in all of us is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The good, the bad, the cynical, the hopeful, the Christian, the not so Christian. The Apostle Paul had the same struggle. All of us struggle every day with what's the Christian thing to do? What would Jesus do? So let's make decisions to act with kindness, compassion, to try to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. When you do, you come out on the side of grace. And by the way, we have two natures. The one you feed the most wins. I hear Madagascar 3 was a great movie. I have no idea. I'll have to take your word for it.